Hi, today I'm going to be talking to you about the opioid epidemic and what you as a college student can do to help combat this issue. To start looking over the discussion boards, I noticed that um, all of us seem to be in agreement on the existence of the issue and its severity, but not what we can do to help end it. The general consensus seemed to be that as a college student, there's not much that you can do um, in the grand scheme of things. But today I'm going to argue to you that through the spread of awareness, um, your vote and the influence of legislation, and promoting of alternative forms of care, that you can help end the war on drugs. So to start, to define opioids, it's a class of drug that includes heroin, certain synthetics like fentanyl, and then prescription painkillers like Vicodin, morphine, things like that. Um, Jeffrey Jurgens at the Addiction Center noted that heroin is the number one most addictive substance on the planet. So, um, about 1 in 4 people who try it become addicted, and that should put things into perspective on how serious this issue can be and why it's important that everyone knows about how big of a deal this thing can be. Um, the CDC noted that 70,000 people died in the year 2017, and that number is on the rise. 130 Americans die every day from opioid abuse. And money is not the issue. I know that's where a lot of the conflict with a college student can be in creating change. Well, I don't have money to do this or that. The Health and Human Services Department has donated over $900 million to each of the 50 states to help combat the issue. So there is money coming in. That's not the only issue. I'm here to talk to you about the other ways, like informing people of these statistics, that you can help. Another way is going to be through your vote. So one thing to look for is the creation of safe injection facilities, or SIFs, which is basically, it's an area that allows for people to safely inject their own drugs with supervision, which should greatly decrease the amount of overdose deaths. Now, there is an issue of moral as well. They're using drugs still. The reality of the situation is drug use will always be around, so it's better to have it monitored and without all the death. Elena Gordon at NPR has noted that no deaths have been recorded at SIF since their use. So this is something that you can look for, opportunities like this to promote safer drug use, instead of just allowing for more illegal drug use or more overdose deaths, things like that. In terms of presidency, our president Donald Trump has he just passed the Support Act, which greatly reduced opioid prescriptions and has funded certain ways to combat this issue. Joe Biden has announced a plan to donate $125 billion over the next 10 years. So these are just certain ways that your vote can kind of determine how this money will be spent. Although it's not yours, you're still deciding where it will go, in places like these SIFs and things like that. Additionally, it is important to promote other forms of alternative care that don't require the use of drugs, because although cutting out opioids, there's still going to be struggles with addiction and withdrawal. So by removing the drugs but keeping the treatment, you're left with these forms of alternative care. One of them is palliative care, which is a form of treatment specialized to each patient's specific needs. To put this into perspective of how it helps people, I have an anecdote, an anonymous anecdote from the Center to Advance Palliative Care, and they stated, "Palliative care helped me get back on track with my strength and my health to where my doctor once again would consider treatment and surgery. That was huge for me." So it is primarily used for cancer patients and those coming out of surgery, but through us voting and promoting this being transferred over to people struggling with withdrawals and addiction, um, we can start to see these positive, like the specialized care towards people, and allowing them more comfort, things like that, which I think would really help with people struggling with opioid abuse. Um, other ways that this alternative care can be promoted is through things like chiropractic, acupuncture, and physical therapy. These are ways to treat people without any use of drugs. Um, it's important to know the CDC has noted that the death toll has been on the rise since 1990. Opioids were created in the early 70s, and they have continued to, the death toll has continued to rise since 1990 until today. And it's nearly at 450,000, which is, it's a lot. So, in conclusion, there are a few different things that you as a college student can do to combat this epidemic. There are multiple pieces on different levels that require your help. So through the spread of awareness and the knowledge of what opioids are and what they do, through your vote on what bills should be passed, on what facilities should be allowed, and through your promotion of certain better forms of care, including palliative care, chiropractic, physical therapy, you can help combat the opioid crisis and hopefully end the war on drugs. Thank you.